Hey guys, welcome to 7-7. Today we're going to talk about percents. We're going to practice writing percents as decimals and fractions today. Now tomorrow we're looking at going between percents, fractions, decimals, and back and forth. Today we're just going to start with percents and say how can we write them in fractions and decimals. So get ready to take lots of notes. I think this is a chapter where it's going to be really good if you really write down step by step what am I supposed to do. It'd be really handy for you. So let's get started. So I thought this was really great, you guys, to really take this in. Just watch this and listen. If after you're done listening to it, you feel like you would like to write it down, then pause the video. But just take this in as I'm reading, okay? Read it with me. Percent means per 100. So I always think of this line as meaning per. 8 per 100. For example, 8% means 8 out of 100, or 8 over 100. If a sales tax, so I'm going to go buy something, and the sales tax of the city says 8%, the following statements are true. For every dollar, so if I'm going to go buy a sucker for $1, I'm going to have to pay 8 cents in sales tax. So my total will come to $1.08. For every $10 I spend, if it's an 8% sales tax, I'm actually going to pay 80 cents in sales tax. For every $100 I spend, I'm going to pay $8 in sales tax. So my total, if I spend $100 on a new pair of shoes, my total will be $108. Because percent means per 100, 100% means 100 out of 100. That's why 100% is often used to mean all or the whole thing. So again, I don't really think you need to write this all down. I just wanted to give you a little background. What are percents? Why do we use percents? How do they work? Just a little bit of background, and now let's get started on our actual problem solving. Use a 10 by 10 square grid to model 8%. So we remember 8% really means 8 out of 100. So if there are 100 squares, I know there are 100 squares because 10 by 10 equals 100. There are 100 squares, so I need to color in 8 of them. So when you get to something like this, all you have to do is color in 8 squares. And usually we like to do the 8 going up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I should have 2 left over because 8 plus 2 is 10. Each one of these blocks is going to be 10. So that's just how we color in 8% of this block, or 8 out of 100 if you wanted to say it that way. So if you see a question like this, I just wanted to cover it real quick here and move on. All we have to do is color in 8. If it said 58%, I would color in 58 boxes. I'd color in 5 different columns, and then I would color in 8 single squares. So let's go on to the next one. So here I need to write 40% as a fraction. So make sure you read the directions, because sometimes it's going to say write it as a fraction. Sometimes it's going to say write it as a decimal. Sometimes it's going to say write it as a fraction and a decimal. So we need to make sure we read the directions as always. So to go from a percent to a fraction, now this is what needs to be into your notes. First step, write the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100. So the percent is 40%. So I'm going to start off by writing it as 40 over 100. Second step, write the fraction in simplest form. So first step, I just have to write it over 100. Now I'm going to try to simplify it. Now if I have 40 over 100, I know I can divide them both by 20. 2 20s, oh sorry, not 20 20s. 2 20s can go into 40, and 5 20s can go into 100. So 2/5 would be my answer. I see that they're both prime numbers, so I know I can't go any farther than that. So let's try it again. Up to 55% of the heat lost by your body can be lost through your head. Write 55% as a fraction in simplest form. So again, first step, write 55 over 100. Second step, reduce. I'm going to divide by 5 because I know that's going to get my numerator to be 11. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So there's our fraction, 11/20ths. And that is all we have to do for that one. Now this is telling us how to change a percent into a decimal. Again, get these notes into your notebook. So if I want to write 24% as a decimal, my first step is I need to write the percent as a fraction with the denominator of 100. That is the same thing as changing a percent into a fraction. So I do 24 over 100. Second step is to write the fraction as a decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator. Now in this case, here's the little trick. Now can this trick always work? No, that's why I wrote divide the numerator by the denominator. So this is 24 hundredths. If I said this number, I would say 24 hundredths. Well, I know I can also write 24 hundredths like this. This could be how I write it, but let's practice dividing the numerator by the denominator. So I would do 24 divided by 100. Now, can 100 go into 24? Nope, so I better add my decimal and a 0. Can 100 go into 240? Yep, 2 times. Minus 200, I'm left with 40. Add my 0, bring it down. Can 100 go into 400? Yes, 4 times. So we get the same answer. But just like if I wrote a different one as 80 over 100, I could simplify that into 8 over 10. This is the tenths, so I would write that as 0 and 8/10. But safe bet, get this written on your paper. You can always divide the top by the bottom, divide the numerator by the denominator to turn it into a decimal. All right, let's try another practice problem. The water frozen in glaciers makes up almost 75% of the world's fresh water supply. Write 75% as a decimal. So first I need to write it over 100. Oop, there we go. Okay, now I need to divide the top by the bottom, numerator by the denominator. So I put my decimal in, add my 0. 100 goes into 750 7 times. Minus 700, left with 50 left over. Add another 0, bring it down. 100 goes into 500 5 times, minus 500, left with 0. So my answer is 75 hundredths, which again is what we said right here. If I were to say this, I'd say 75 hundredths. If I were to say this, I'd say 75 hundredths. So do you have to show this? No. I'm going to go with no. The only way you would have to show it if it's something that you can't, that you don't know right away in your head. Okay, but this is pretty easy. I mean, if it was something like turn 7/11ths into a fraction, or sorry, into a decimal, then you'd have to divide the top by the bottom and show me that. But when it's something easy like these, I think we can know that 75 hundredths is the same as 75 hundredths. So anyways, that is actually all that I have for you today. I think it might be a pretty quick video today. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you ask any questions in the question at the end, because I do read those and I do want to make sure I'm helping. So anyways, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.